Am I the asshole for refusing to continue punishing my daughter for not talking? This is a rough one with a lot of details I can't really cover in the char limit. I'm completely stumped on who the asshole is here now. This isn't a situation that I ever thought I would be in. I, 41M, have a 15-year daughter Kat with my soon-to-be ex, 42F. The split has been decided on for 6 months now and we're trying to keep it as amicable as possible. I don't want to go into the reasons for the split, it's beside the point. My ex will be the one moving out of the house since the house was mine before we married and we had a prenup, but I'm helping her get things squared away to buy her own place, so we'll be living together for a while longer. Separate bedrooms. We tried to make the news as easy on Kat as possible and break it over a few conversations across a month so it didn't feel so sudden and she would have time to process things in pieces. She was upset, but she seemed to be doing okay. She's a good kid and I made it clear to her that my #1 priority is her and making sure both of us get through this and have a good life. I still don't have a clear picture of what happened, but I came home from work one day to find Kat locked in her room and my ex fuming. She said they had an argument about the divorce and Kat was disrespectful. They've been having the usual teen daughter-mom problems for a while, so I thought it was something similar. Kat wouldn't talk to me, but she did unlock the door so I could make sure she was okay, and I gave my ex some money to go get dinner for herself so Kat would come down and eat. Since the fight she hasn't talked to anyone. Not even to her friends. Her teacher says that she'll participate in class, but she doesn't talk beyond that. I had already started her in therapy, but she won't talk to the therapist anymore. The most I've gotten out of her is a nod when I asked if she would let me know if she needed help or if she felt like hurting herself, even if it was just a text or a note. My ex is losing her shit about it and insisted that we take her electronics away. I resisted, but we're more than a month into this now and I'm coming up with nothing, so we took her phone and put her on supervised computer time for a week. I told her that I wanted her to have some uninterrupted time to think so she could let me know what she needed. Nothing. Didn't faze her at all. Anytime my ex is in the house she won't leave her room. She does her usual routine, but she just seems to mentally check out otherwise. My ex wants to ramp up the pressure and take other things away, and this is where I might be I told her that I won't punish Kat for this anymore. I'm giving her her phone back, and if she cares about her daughter she needs to mom up and go make whatever happened right. This isn't just willful kid stuff. She called me an asshole for implying she doesn't care about Kat and always taking her side and coddling her. My in-laws called to roast me for undermining my ex as a parent and letting my daughter be a brat. Am I the asshole? Edit. Wow. Lot of responses. To answer a few common questions, I have tried to get to the bottom of what happened, but my ex is sticking to her story, which I don't think is completely, and may not be at all, true, and my daughter isn't talking. Unless someone talks, I can't know exactly what happened, so for now all I can do is try to help Kat feel safe enough to talk to someone even if it's not me. My lawyer has advised against kicking my ex-wife out unless there is some sort of clear-cut documentable proof of abuse. The courts are not friendly to divorcing dads here, and anything I do to make this an antagonistic situation is going to make getting primary or 50-50 custody a whole lot harder. I'm working on documenting and expediting things at this point, but I have to play the long game or Kat may end up in a worse situation. The best I can do right now is try to prevent her from being alone with my ex while I work with the lawyers and Kat's therapist. I wish it was as simple as kicking my ex out, but it just realistically is not in this situation according to the experts. Some people raised a concern about my ex getting a hold of and reading Kat's therapy journal. I've always promised her that's between her and her therapist, so if I find out that's true, that will be something I can give my lawyer to work with. In case that's part of it, I'm taking Kat to pick up a locking document case or small lockbox for her journals on the way home today. I want her to see it come out of the box and that nobody is keeping a spare key from her. Either way, I'm going to talk to her tonight and let her know that I'm here and I love her no matter what happens or happened and whether she talks or not. If she doesn't want to talk but she doesn't want to be alone, I'll sit and read with her, or we can watch a movie in the evenings, go for a drive, whatever she wants. Not the asshole that all really sounds like your ex crossed a line into abuse and Kat is protecting herself. Punishment at this point is just continued abuse. She doesn't trust you or her therapist to talk about what happened because you aren't actually providing her a safe space to be, as ex still lives there. Maybe she'll come around if you protect her from ex. Maybe not. Info. What did your wife say to your daughter during that argument? Do you know? Not the asshole. A week without a phone is ages for a teenager. It's time to end that punishment and definitely give her back tools that help with communication. But can you try an incentive instead? Do some activity she likes if she agrees to talk with you? Edit. I know others are asking this too, and I want to second it. Can your ex stay elsewhere now? Can you ask your daughter if she would be more comfortable at home if her mother were not staying there still, then act accordingly? Not the asshole. You can't punish a traumatized teen into being happy. If you take away her phone and internet, you will drive her more deeply into depression and shut down. Your kid is deeply upset and sad and she doesn't trust you or your wife. That is very bad. And punishing will make it worse. I stopped talking to my mom after a fight. It was wonderful. She would yell, but without feedback, the yelling ended quickly. I expanded my campaign of silence. I talked to no one. If a teacher called on me, I did not answer. If my brother or sisters cared, they got over it quickly enough. I was sent to a therapist. I never spoke a word to him. I felt he was a tool. I remained silent for about 3 years. I knew exactly what I was doing. I was not mentally ill. Not sure if my story offers any insights, but for me, it was a great move. Am I the asshole for snapping at my sister-in-law in front of her friends? My 28F brother, Mark, 30M, is getting married next week to my future sister-in-law, Sarah, 29F, next weekend. They got engaged in 2020, but are having the wedding now after waiting a few years to save up. Sarah really has become a part of our family, and she and I developed a nice friendship. She and Mark have also been really excited about the wedding up until maybe 2-3 months ago, which is to be expected as the big day looms closer. Now, they're both stressed, say that they wish they had just eloped to save all this money and headache. We had Sarah's bachelorette party over the weekend. It was myself, Sarah, and 2 of Sarah's longtime friends who are also in the wedding party. We were having a nice time at a restaurant when Sarah started talking about how much she regrets deciding to have this wedding in the first place. Then, she said that the only reason that they're having a wedding is because my brother's family, my family, would never have gotten over it if they'd eloped. I protested a bit, at first feeling bad that she felt pressured by my family into something that she didn't want to do, but also reassured her that my family would have been perfectly fine if they hadn't had a wedding. Sarah then kind of laughed and looked at me and said, "Do you really think that your mom would have gotten over it if her firstborn son decided to elope?" I said that she absolutely would have gotten over it and pointed out that my parents also eloped. Sarah then turned to the others and said, "She's wrong. Their mom would have hated me forever for marrying her son without a wedding, and Mark could never bear letting his mommy down anyway." I admit that my mom can be a bit over the top when it comes to events and such, but she stayed out of the wedding planning entirely, on purpose. I told Sarah that she was wrong and told her to stop blaming my family for a decision that she made. Things got awkward after that. We all sipped our drinks for a minute before Sarah and her maid of honor got up to go to the bathroom together, leaving me and the other bridesmaid at the table. The other bridesmaid, Lily, then turned to me and told me that it was super rude of me to call Sarah out in front of her friends just days before her wedding. I stood my ground and said that I wouldn't let me family be blamed for something that isn't their fault. Lily insisted that maybe I don't know the full story, and that I could never understand how Sarah is feeling, so I shouldn't add stress to her life while she needs to vent. No one else spoke to me for the rest of the night. Things were a bit better in the morning, but everything still feels awkward, and Sarah has been distant since then. Now I'm wondering if I overreacted and if I should have just let her vent. I wouldn't want to be called out in front of my friends like that, but I also felt a little cornered and that it was my job to stand up for my family. Am I the asshole? Edit. Thanks, all. I spoke with her last night. She and I both apologized to each other for the way we handled that situation. According to her, my brother did say, a few years ago, that he thought my parents would want them to have a wedding, but she admitted that she was also projecting a little and is just stressed. I apologized for reacting the way I did. I should have been open-minded. Not the asshole. She spoke poorly of your family, and you defended them. It's silly and pathetic to blame them for your choices. They say you don't know the full story. You don't need to know anything to defend those you love. On one hand, I can understand you reacting to someone bad-mouthing your family. On the other hand, was she right? Let's be honest here. Don't lie to Reddit. We deserve the truth, winking face. I understand feeling the need to defend your family, but instead of dismissing what she was saying out of hand, you could have and should have asked her for examples of how, when she felt pressured by someone or where she got that idea. She may have been looking for support. She also could have explained instead of just generally throwing your mom under the bus. Try and remember your relationship with your mom is not her relationship. Nah. I think you should have just let it go. Before this silliness boils over more, say something to mom or brother about the conversation. I can guarantee you she's going to eventually throw you under the bus for being mean to her. Am I the asshole for not going to a cottage for a week with my husband's family? My Mill and I got along great until I gave birth to my child, her grandchild. I had really bad postpartum depression, anxiety and terrifying postpartum psychosis. Mill was extremely judgmental and unhelpful to our family during this time. The day I had to call 911 because I was hallucinating, her main concern was that she was asked to wait outside while I spoke to the emergency mental health team. This caused massive tension between us. Since then she has struggled a lot with boundaries, particularly if we cannot make an event work because we are busy, sick etc. or have to say no to something. I get accused of withholding her granddaughter from her. Mill asked several times to see granddaughter and was told no due to a number of reasons, previous plans, sickness, it doesn't work with our schedule etc. After 4-5 of her asking, she stopped asking because she felt discouraged. After 2 years of giving us grief about seeing her grandkid, she drops the bomb that her and Phil are moving very far away because they want to see other parts of the world. They are planning a visit in the summer and they had asked if we would meet them at a cottage for a visit. We said yes, of course. Mill assumed we would be going to this cottage for a week, which we did not realize until 2 days ago. When we advised her we could only go for 2-3 nights, she got upset and asked why. I advised her we wouldn't be able to take time off work. My husband and I both lost our jobs 2 months ago. Husband found a new job and I am still looking. Mill said that because I'm not working right now that it seemed like a lie that we couldn't afford to take the time off work because I don't currently have a job. Her response to my reasoning was, "Sounds like more bullshit but okay," and then she went on to explain that she feels I don't want to go. I explained us both taking 5 days off work would leave us $1,500 short and my Mill knows that we are living paycheck to paycheck. I explained that we likely wouldn't be able to get that kind of time off from our jobs due to us being at our positions for less than 6 months. This has caused massive upset with Mill. She says I'm trying to keep my husband and daughter away from his family, that I am toxic, that it's always been an issue how much time we spend together etc. I politely asked her to respect our boundaries and what we can accommodate financially as a family and the response I got to that was, "You only think about yourself." We said we would still be happy to go for 2-3 nights and she said no, that her and the rest of the family would do their own thing. We offered to have her stay with us when she visits but she didn't respond to that. I've tried very hard to make this work. She thinks I'm not trying hard enough. Am I the asshole for holding this boundary or should I be trying harder so she can have a better relationship with her grandchild? Edit as requested by commenters. Mill saw my child lots during the last 2 years. There were many times we went to visit at her request, met up for lunch at her request. Before they moved out of the country I drove 1.5 hours one way so she could see my daughter for 30 minutes. We were supposed to stay for 2 hours but Mill was tired. The 3 months before they moved away, Mill saw my child over 10 times. She's never going to be happy, you're never going to try hard enough for her. Be satisfied that you don't have to spend time with her. Not the asshole. You were kind enough to offer to stay at the cottage for a few nights, and she's still calling you selfish. If she's not willing to respect your boundaries or be understanding of your situation, you have no obligation to put up with her. My God, not the asshole. If I were in your place I'd tell her, fine, you know what? I've told you what we can manage and we've bent over backwards trying to make it work so you can see your granddaughter. You seem to think the fact that we have obligations is a personal slight that entitles you to demand the moon, so we're just gonna call the whole thing off. Call us when you have a healthy and respectful attitude. Nah. Sucks y'all can't make it work, but seems main issue isn't the current situation but the unresolved friction between you two. Not the asshole, but why do you have to be the Mill handler? Her son should be the one dealing with his mother. Especially if you two don't get on. Am I the asshole for asking my mom to remove a photo of me from her sitting room? Before I start, I just want to say that my mom is literally one of the nicest, most loving people I know, and that her and my dad have been a real support to me throughout my life. So I might be the asshole here. I'm 37F, currently going through a divorce. My husband and I split up a year and a half ago, and it was a painful, hard experience. I'm pretty much over it now, and have come out the other side, ready to move on. My mom is very family-oriented and loves having photos of family in the house. Her sitting room is full of framed photos of the family. She did have a photo of me and my husband on our wedding day, but after we split, she took it down after I asked her to. Since then, she didn't really have a recent picture of me up. I honestly didn't care about this. However, when I went over today, she had put up a new pic of me. It was from my wedding day, but as a close-up image of just my face, so you wouldn't know it was a wedding photo unless someone told you. However, I instantly recognized it as a picture from my wedding, which was nearly 10 years ago, so not even a recent pic. I asked Mom to take it down and replace it with a different picture. I said I didn't want to see a pic of me on my wedding day every time I went over. She said that it was a lovely picture of me, it didn't look like a wedding photo, and that I looked so nice on that day, it's a shame to waste the photo. She also said that ultimately it's her house, and she can put up any photos she wants, and this is a pic that she likes. I still dislike it. Am I being an oversensitive asshole who just needs to get over myself? Edit. Thanks all. Seems the comments seem to be pretty 50-50 over whether I'm being an asshole or not. I'm more than willing to admit that I might be in the wrong here. Ultimately I agree that it is her house and she can do what she wants, and if she wants to keep the pic then I can live with it. It's not that big of a deal. I think it just threw me today since I wasn't expecting to see the picture when I went over. I'm not massively traumatized by seeing the photo, but I just look so damn happy on that picture. Looking at it just makes me a bit sad. The end of my marriage was sudden and traumatic, and took a lot of processing. I am pretty much over it, but thinking about it does still make me a bit sad. Gifting a new photo might be an idea, but I don't think I'd have them done professionally. It's just not me, and my mum would assume I had had a personality transplant. I do have some nice recent casual pics I could suggest for her perhaps. After posting this, I reflected on whether there might be another reason why it bothers me, and I think the fact that the picture is so old and I don't really look like that anymore might be something that irks me a bit. I'm a decade older and look it in a lot grayer and heavier than I was back then. It feels like it's not really a pic of me. Anyway, thanks all. I am reading and taking on board all your comments. Edit 2. Just to add as well, since a lot of people have brought it up, the photo isn't one that was taken by the professional photographer. It was one my mom took herself before the ceremony. You are the asshole. She wants a picture of you and removed anything that showed it was a wedding picture. Instead of being upset with her, why don't you select a picture of yourself, print it to the correct size, and the next time you are over replace the picture. Nah. I can understand not wanting to see anything that reminds you of your wedding day now that the marriage is over. But your mom just wants to display a nice picture of you in her home. This could easily be resolved by just giving her a nice pic of you. Not the asshole. It's very reasonable that you wouldn't want your mom to display that picture. Perhaps gift her another picture. I agree that it's her house and she can display what she wants, but her knowing it upsets you and still keeping up makes her a bit of an awe. Not the asshole. If your mom uses an image you find traumatic as a display piece, that makes your mom a bad mother and an awe. Don't listen to these dweebs lol, you're not the asshole. My mother puts up a ridiculous amount of photos of the family and it can be super annoying when you see yourself all over the walls, house. I think it is necessary to display photos of yourself and others.